Hello and welcome to your GG Replay for Monday, October 18th, 2021. GG Replay is, of course, a Monday, Wednesday, Friday show where we break down the latest in gaming news, hosted by us, the Goodnight Groofs, a place for games and a place for goofs. My name is Paul, and I'm joined, as always, by Matt. How are you doing today on this, wonderful Monday fun day?
I'm doing well, Paul. I'm feeling pretty baller today, and we'll get to that when we're talking about the Elden Ring news. I often make predictions. I don't often have such direct receipts for those predictions, and but we'll talk about that later. But I'm feeling good today. Got a little workout in. Just kind of been relaxing. How about you?
Nice. I love it. I am doing pretty well. I had a nice day, just doing some boring stuff. Shampooed the carpets, had to go rent one from Home Depot, all the fun
Very
stuff you do on
nice.
a Monday. Just continuing to enjoy my unemployment life. So this is what you do on a Monday morning. But yeah, it was pretty fun. Matt, if correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the last Monday you'll be totally free and clear for a while, right? You're starting work next week?
That's correct. Yeah.
Oh
I will be.
man.
I'll be back in the workforce here pretty soon.
Okay, so next week I'll ask you how Monday is, and it'll be a little
Oh,
different. We'll get a
gee, that's gonna.
We'll get a Garfield answer.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite the different answer.
No, it's gonna be amazing. All right, well, let's talk about some game stuff because that is what we are here to do today. Well, first off, I just want to remind everyone that we have some corrections and comments from the previous show. We actually have a correction that Rachel wrote in, one of our patrons and also my lovely partner, wrote in to say that Prisoner Azkaban is not the best Harry Potter movie. I think objectively she may be wrong, but she says that 1 and 2 are the most magical, despite the terrible child acting. And her personal favorite is Deathly Hallows Part 1, the seven Part 1 or 7.
Which I agree with.
And Matt, this is actually your personal favorite. And I think you said that in the episode too. That's your personal favorite Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it there, and then after the episode, we got in Discord. We were all discussing putting together our lists for the books and the movies and all that kind of stuff, and how much they differ. And it was a fun discussion.
It was, yeah. But no, that's cool. Do you think that's objectively the best one, or just your favorite one?
No, I don't think it's
Do you
my
think
favorite.
Azkaban is the best one? That to get that Alfonso Cuarón in there. That's I think the idea, right? Is that he's
it's
such an
up there. It might be number 2. I think that 5 is probably objectively the best film.
Interesting. I just watched 5 last night. I've seen it before, obviously, but I did watch it last night. It was all right. It wasn't my favorite one that I've watched so far. Honestly, in my watch through what we're doing right now, 1 and 2 actually were the most surprisingly entertaining to me.
Okay.
I thought they would be like kids, because the books are pretty kiddie.
They are. Well,
And I find that those
on,
movies actually also are, but they're like, I don't know, there's a certain magic in them, and also like shit gets like kind of crazy in those ones, especially 2, like the ending of 2 with like the basilisk and Tom Riddle.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't remember it being this cool. I remember always being like, this is silly. Pretty cool. So yeah, we're doing Half-Blood Prince tonight, I think, and then we're moving on to Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, which is exciting because, as I've said before, I have never read nor watched a movie of the Deathly Hallows. I got all the way up to Half-Blood Prince, loved it, and then quit Harry Potter forever. So I never watched them or read them. And Rachel said she's excited for me to see Deathly Hallows, but also that it's a shame that I haven't read the book first. But I can't go at this point now and just read that book. I'd have to go back and read all of them, which maybe I'll do at some point. But like, there's no way I'm just going to jump in to 7. So
I think I like 7 Part 1 so much because I really like road movies and characters growing, as they're traveling around and stuff like that. So, and that really embodies that sort of thing. And then 7 Part 2 falls flat in some areas, especially as an adaptation, but it's fine. But I do really love Part 1 for that.
I'm excited. I was just saying to Rachel, I feel like it's got that real buddy road trip movie kind of vibe, and like almost like Logan or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this,
Yeah.
Like you have to go on this dark road trip for some reason, but then there's also kind of like something out of that that's like magical in the journey. So I'm pretty hyped for that, actually. I think it may end up being my favorite one. It's just too bad that one of the triad, not naming any names, is a fucking terrible, terrible actor. So That's my
who
Rachel and I basically. We watched the first one. I think Emma Watson is the worst actress.
Really? Okay.
I like her as a person. I think she's like a wonderful advocate and everything. But everything I've seen her in, she's pretty bad. And I remember seeing we were watching the first Harry Potter, and I was like, God, from the beginning as a child, like I was like, they're all pretty bad. Like Dan, especially in the first one, but she is just so like she just reads her lines so she's reading them and she's overacts every facial expression. Like no wonder everyone thinks her and Harry should get together because they're like she makes these like face like oh thank God Harry's alive. She looks like it's like the greatest thing that's ever happened. Like it's just too much. It's always too much. And it's consistently gotten there. We started out and Rachel's like go easy on Emma Watson, and we're on 5 now. She's like, you know what, you were right. I forgot. Like this is really bad. So that's where we're at.
I think that's interesting that you bring that up because now that you say that, I do realize that, but I think that also is part of the charm of why people like that character in the movies. I don't know why, but yeah, there is like a sense of there is something about the overacting that people seem to like about it. I think
I agree. All right, let's talk about video games because we are here.
Mugglecast.
Not Mugglecast, although it is a couple Muggles casting. Maybe when Hogwarts Legacy, we finally get some news on that, then we can talk about it. I know that is a WB game, I think. So that I mean, it's not. I know it was DC Fandom, but it would have been cool maybe if they were like, hey, also WB, let's talk about Hogwarts Legacy. But we're not getting it this week. Just a reminder, if you have any necessary corrections in today's episode, or if you just want to send us a funny little opinion like that, send them to ggreplayshow@gmail.com or head down to the YouTube comments below so we can address them in the next episode.
And Paul, and real quick, before you get on, move on. Shout out to Derek in the YouTube comments. Left a really nice comment. Thank you for that. That really made our day.
Yeah, thank you so much, Derek. We hope you're listening now and that this is a satisfactory gaming podcast for you and not just a Harry Potter podcast that we decided to turn it into. And now, hello to everyone who saw on the YouTube clip maybe that you could skip ahead from Harry Potter discussion. We're now in the show proper. All right, so let's get into it. Let's talk about some stories. First off, we have Elden Ring. We've all been pretty excited, especially when we found out that Elden Ring was actually going to be released in January, which was only a few months away from the time that we got this release date. I think it was only about 6 months away when we found out, which is pretty exciting. So it's not anymore. It is now February 25th, 2022, which is exactly 101 years to the day from my grandmother being born, which is interesting. February 25th, 1921. The previous date was January 21st. Now it is February 25th. But wait, Matt, this is not a surprise. You know, to us here at the replay, we might recognize this. You seem to have an interesting point about this.
Yeah, I predicted this 2 weeks ago on the October 4th episode. So you know what, Paul? I'm gonna put that clip in right now.
Yeah, can we roll that clip?
I think I've said this before, but I have a feeling Elden Ring might end up getting a little bit delayed. Even if it's only like a month or two, it just feels like it's gonna need a little bit more. I just think it's because when we first learned about the release date, it was so much sooner than we expected. I don't see how they're gonna make January.
Well, there you have it. That was Matt's bad. How did you? Crazy. I love it.
Yeah. I just felt like to reiterate on what I said 2 weeks ago. I just felt like when we learned about the January release in June at the end of Opening Night Live, it definitely seemed earlier than everyone was expecting. And then the news we were talking about that day on the 4th was how they stated they were in the final stages of development. And you and I talked about like, well, what does that exactly mean? I mean, like, I hope you're in the final stages because it's October and your game comes out in January. So at that time, I said, you know, I have a hard time seeing it coming out in January. I think it'll be delayed by a month or two. Turns out it is being delayed by a little bit over a month. And voila. Maybe it gets another delay. Who knows? They are going to be doing a closed testing period, November 12th through 15th. So you can go sign up for that now. Maybe they get some feedback that they need to move back even further. Who knows?
Yep. So, I mean, it's interesting. It's not unprecedented with From Software. Bloodborne was delayed by around a month as well. So nothing crazy. It sounds like they are now no stranger to maybe taking an extra month and cleaning stuff up. That seems to be something that, you know, they have done in the past. But what a lot of people are saying might be something interesting to check out is there was 30 seconds of leaked gameplay over the weekend. And People are saying maybe it's related to that. I saw the top comment of this on the game subreddit, I think, was someone saying, is this punishment for us all watching that leaked jumping video? And a lot of people are thinking maybe this is them trying to like perfect or getting jumping into the game. I saw people saying like, hey, and then other people going, listen, we saw jumping stuff maybe earlier leaked. There's no way they could do jumping in like a month extra or whatever. Like, is that really something that they're going to be trying to shoehorn in? If so, it's probably going to be bad. But I think more that it's something that they may have already kind of finished and they're just trying to see the reaction to perfect it maybe. But it definitely seems like that leaked video timing is interesting considering how we immediately get that in the reaction to it.
Yeah, if you want to find it, Jeff Grubb has it on Twitter. I think it's very possible, like you said, that this was purposely leaked to get a reaction. It's funny. It is technically a gameplay leak, but it's really just a character jumping around a few times. I mean, there's really not much
deal because that wasn't something that was necessarily going to be in the game.
Right. So yeah, I do think that it is possible that they're looking for audience reactions on the animations or the height of the jump, or you just the idea of adding a jump to a From Software game. Like some people might be like, some purists might be like, well, nah, I don't want to see that. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's funny. I don't think that the jump is the entire reason for the month delay, but it is interesting timing for sure.
It is interesting. So we'll have to see what that ends up shaking out to be, obviously, if the jump has any sort of factor or just if we see any new stuff we didn't already think about. But yeah, closed testing is coming up very soon, in just under a month. So pretty cool. So make sure you go and sign up for that now if you're interested in it, because you might be able to be the first one to jump into the game.
Hashtag Jumpgate.
Jumpgate. All right, let's move on. We're talking about DC Fandom. DC Fandom was this weekend, and we got a whole bunch of trailers and things for movies. We got The Batman, which I'm very psyched about, and Matt over here says it looks like a CW show trying to be Christopher Nolan.
Well, you're trying to send hate mail my way. All right.
I will fight you to the grave. That is ggreplayshow@gmail.com. But I will say that, I'm sure there's a lot of people who agree with you. Here's the thing. And we're not going to get into this for a big, long thing, but I do want to say, with that Batman trailer, if anyone saw it, I think that it does seem like it's channeling Nolan more than I want it to. I don't get that CW. Like, I think it looks better than like a CW thing, and I think it does a fine job. It's just like I don't want them to try to like do knockoff Nolan. I want it to have its own its own vibe more. I kind of hope to be almost more like Batfleck. Not that I liked that movie per se, but just something a little different. Do something different. So we'll see how that goes. But I am really excited because I love Pattinson. It looks pretty cool. But we also got some video game stuff, which is really, really cool. So first off, we got story trailers. First off, the main thing here was we got story trailers for Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and Gotham Knights. So we did see Gotham Knights stuff. We have seen gameplay from Gotham Knights last year, and we got some little tidbits more of that, but nothing this weekend. This weekend was all about stories, and the story was Court of Owls, which is pretty cool. And Kill the Justice League is a crazy story about, getting a Suicide Squad together to kill the Justice League. Looks like the Justice League maybe went rogue or something fucking crazy happened. Kind of hard to tell exactly what
the idea is that they were brainwashed by Brainiac.
Yeah, right. Okay, so they're kind of, they're the bad guys in this. So we got no release date for either, but both are set for 2022. I think a lot of the thoughts are that Gotham Knights was pushed back from 2021. So I think a lot of people think maybe that'll be an early 2022 with Suicide Squad being maybe a late 2022 to kind of balance those out for the year for WB. Matt, what would you say your impression was from these trailers? Let's start with the Gotham Knights trailer. What's your kind of vibe on maybe this game and especially the story trailer?
I thought as a game story, that one intrigued me more of the two, but at the same time, I don't want to play as side characters from Batman. I want to play as Batman, and I also think it's weird that of the two, if they're not both going to be in the Batman Arkham universe, it's weird that the Gotham Knights one is the one that's not, but the Suicide Squad game is in that universe. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, because the Suicide Squad one's made by Rocksteady.
But the WB Montreal, I think, is the one doing Gotham Knights, and they did Batman
Arkham Origins.
Or Arkham Origins. So
yeah.
they were part of it.
But it's not, not the same canon. But yeah, I will say it looks really cool. I will say about the side character thing. I think it's like it's the difference between being like a casual DC fan and being like a Batman fan. I think most Batman fans are like, especially in like the modern era here, and like the the what 2020s or whatever you want to call this decade, I guess. I mean that's what you would call them, the Roaring Twenties. I think would say like Bat Family is a big part of Batman, the Bat Family. And so there we have like Dick Grayson as Nightwing and Damian Wayne and Jason Todd as the Red Hood and and Barbara Gordon and all that kind of stuff. So I think that stuff matters, or it's Cassandra Cain. I don't know. I don't know which one it is. I think it's Barbara Gordon, Batgirl. But either way, I think that's a big part of Batman. There's definitely done stories like this before where Batman dies or something happens to Batman. They have to pick up the mantle, but like maybe even one of them isn't really quite Batman, so it's like a team thing. But that's kind of cool. It makes me think, as a side note, that it like leads the way for like, please come on, cross my fingers. Maybe like a Batman Beyond set way down somewhere where we could do something like this would be really, really cool. Because it really has those kind of vibes with some of these younger Bat people. But yeah, Court of Owls, I won't get into spoilers, but it's pretty cool. It's basically like, an underground organization that's like mythologized, that kind of runs Gotham, that's like older than Batman. And it's really interesting to like add this mythos. I mean, it's a comic thing, but it's really interesting for even them to have added this mythos in later and basically been like, hey, by the way, like everything you've been doing, like this has been almost happening because of them the entire time, which is pretty interesting to see. They did a cool like behind the story. I don't know if you watched. There was like a longer vignette thing where they talked about like the inspirations for the story with some of the writers and stuff, and they were just talking about how cool the Court of Owls is. So I'm psyched. It seems cool. I don't know about the gameplay yet. I'm a little mixed. It looks floaty. Just from like the stuff we saw from last year, but that was pre-alpha, so we'll have to see. But this could be like a better version, maybe. I mean, it's 2-person co-op, but I'm getting that feeling it could be like a better version of like the Avengers kind of game.
That'd be great.
Maybe a games as a service game that actually kind of works. It isn't just like just enough and then like milking you dry. Maybe like a medium in there that would actually get me to play it.
What are your thoughts on these two games both being co-op games? Like, is that
I know it's cool.
You can play single player, but like they're probably meant to be played co-op. Like that's how they're being built.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't. Would you rather just a single player story, or is this a cool thing to you?
I think it's cool. I like games as a service. No, I don't know if that's true necessarily, but I like. I mean, we've been playing Back for Blood on stream and just ourselves this week with buddies, with Josh and Mike, the other Groofs, and I've been having a lot of fun with that. And I think it's cool to kind of have a campaign, but drop into it with friends and play through that. And maybe I'm playing a little less than I would have single player, but also I don't know if that's true. I think some games are cool to exist as a game. Now, in a story game where I actually care about the story,
that's my thing.
That's the issue. And so I think when you look at something like Gotham Knights and the Court of Owls being an interesting story, I think you might have to like popcorn it up a little bit to make it palatable, because I mean, we don't care about these characters the same way you might a DC character, but still we're skipping most of the Back for Blood cinematics because we just don't care so much. We're having a fun time with the game and making our own fun of it. That's a little tougher with this. Suicide Squad, I feel differently though. Suicide Squad looks like it'll be funny and quick enough that I won't skip, and I think that works better for co-op. Matt, what do you think of the Suicide Squad story trailer? Do you think that is more or less gripping to you than the Batman one or Gotham Knights?
It's honestly kind of the same thing. I'd rather play as the Justice League characters than this Suicide Squad, which isn't even the movie Suicide Squad, right? Like it's different.
No.
Okay.
Different lineup.
I honestly don't know really how the Suicide Squad works. I'm not the guy to come to as far as DC comic stuff, but I thought, some of it looked funny, I guess. I don't know. It just looked okay. Like it's just a story trailer. Like visually, it looked cool, but I don't know. I would need to see gameplay, but I also don't really want to play some 4-player co-op Suicide Squad game. I don't know. This is just not a game for me at all.
Yeah, I think if the gameplay is really fun, then this will win out. Because I think the characters are fun enough, and they have source material to work on to make sure they can, if they want to, they can really flesh them out to be something kind of fun and quirky. I don't know, like this game, the visuals of it reminds me a lot of like Sunset Overdrive or something.
Oh, okay.
Just a little bit, just like bright, colorful, fast moving kind of vibe. And when I think of that, I think of how how forgettable every character and like every vibe in that to me was. And I think that like when you have more interesting characters and then put them into that could be a lot of fun. And also because they're so wacky and goofy and throwaway, I think that adds something too to me not having to worry so much about watching every cinematic or caring as much about the story.
Yeah.
I think the story is like a cool background. It's funny to like play through that, but also you'll probably get a lot of the flavor and understanding your characters just from them playing. And it sounds like they banter with each other maybe during the game, and they you get the vibe, which I think will play through well with that game. So I think that
Yeah.
works better as a service game IMO. But I think the story is pretty secondary. It's like, hey, look at these idiots. There's no way they'll beat the Justice League. Good luck. And then the game starts, and I think that seems really fun.
I totally agree with that. I would much rather play the Batman game, the Gotham Knights game, single player focusing on the story than I would the Suicide Squad game. I don't think I'll care much about the story in that one. It's just getting some friends together to kill the Justice League.
Yeah, goof around. It seems like Back for Blood, right? You get around and you goof around and you try to kill as many things as you can, and you get your ass beat. And then there's like some funny lines here and there that like you might crack up at or something, and then that's it. Or it has like just a vibe to it that like makes you enjoy the scene and the characters.
But I will say, if it's not already clear, neither of these two games really appeal to me that much. I'll want to see some gameplay, some new gameplay for Gotham Knights, and some gameplay at all for Suicide Squad, which is, by the way, Rocksteady's been working on this game forever. So if it's just a flop, that's going to be a pretty big problem.
Yeah, it'll be a problem, and it'll just be kind of depressing to see if this flops. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to, but yeah, I'm excited to see some gameplay, especially when the game is, I mean, theoretically out within a year. And they've been working on it forever, and we've gotten like 2 story trailers, or like a teaser and a story trailer. All right, like let's show us a little something, right? And I think Gotham Knights coming out of the gate showing us gameplay last year, which was kind of spoiling to get that and be like, oh wow, like we can actually see some gameplay and understand how this game's going to play. That was a funny way to say it, but you know what I mean. But ultimately, I don't know. The stuff from Gotham Knights gameplay was maybe not the best move though either, because it looked cool, but then also it looked unsatisfying if you really lead into it for too long. So we shall see. I am interested in both these games. I don't know if I'm gonna like go out and buy them day one, but they do seem like cool games. But like you said, I just don't think we know enough yet, so we'll have to see.
I'm most interested in seeing, as far as DC properties, seeing someone take a risk and try to make a Superman game work. I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon or ever, but that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, be tough to do it right, to do it where you're trying to think of another game where you're just like all powerful. Can't really think.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't a lot of characters that are almost flawless.
Yeah, exactly. We'll play a Superman game where you're under the effects of kryptonite the entire time, or you're just on Krypton. You're just normal dude.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there, we fixed it. And there's just like a one segment where you're under the yellow sun. You're like, aha! And they can just go crazy. All right, let's move on, talking about something that probably doesn't need to be talked about because it didn't happen. Xbox Game Studios Publishing on Twitter yesterday tweeted, "We're excited to kick off something special tomorrow. Just give us one more day to prepare the chickens," with a chicken emoji. Which people were going, "Oh, what is this? Is this a thing? Could it be Fable?" That started kind of going around. People were saying, "Is this Fable? That seems kind of weird to imagine." Then all of a sudden, there was another tweet right after saying, "We'd call it our Fable anniversary, but that name was already taken." I get like why, because the game is coming out. That's not even clever. It's not a pun.
I really don't even.
If this were real, you gave the game away.
Right. That tweet really doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
No, I understand what it means. It's stupid. And then, well, it doesn't matter anyway, because about 2 hours later, they tweeted again, "Sorry for any confusion. We don't have any big game news tomorrow or any info about Playground Games' upcoming Fable game." Cool. People were naturally pretty confused, and I think sorry for the confusion may have been a little bit of an understatement. People were pretty pissed and upset. The first 2 tweets have now been deleted, so we're not standing by that at all. It looks like it was not even like an overhyping of something. It was something that just isn't happening. Like nothing happened.
Right.
So what the hell was supposed to happen? What is happening here? Matt, do you have any take on, do you think maybe we're gonna get Fable Anniversary, but they like, is this a blue box or not blue box, Blue Point Studios or whatever leak where we find out and then they wait like 3 months to tell us what actually happened and they just accidentally tweeted it out too early? What do you have any hot takes?
Yeah, it feels like it's a case of just a wrong scheduled tweet. Like it was scheduled
Yeah.
for the wrong day or wrong time.
Yeah.
But then they specifically reference in the second one the Fable anniversary, which is this next week. So I don't, maybe it was a
Yeah.
couple days early. I don't know. It's just
Maybe.
weird. But if it was a couple days early, you would think that they would have everything ready to just go with it at that
They
point.
would just go with it, I think, right? Yeah.
This is very strange. I don't think we're going to see anything for Fable for a while.
I
So
certainly don't think this Playground Games Fable game. I don't think we're getting anything for that for a long time. But a remaster, isn't out of the realm. I think there's a lot of remasters recently. This is Xbox Game Studios publishing, deals mostly with international and third party and other stuff too. It's possible this could be like an outsourced remaster of some kind that we haven't heard about.
yeah, looking at the first tweet where they say we're excited to kick off something special tomorrow. Just give us one more day to prepare the chickens. That second part is very strange, but the first part makes me think like, okay, maybe they are starting development on a Fable anniversary game or Fable remake, master remake, whatever today. But why would they tweet about it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a
It,
weird thing to tweet about it. It makes me think there's like a celebration, like we're excited to kick off something special, like we're gonna start like
yeah,
a week of Fable where we all get excited and we give away Fable or something. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, something that's like a celebration more than an actual game.
right.
But
Yeah, yeah.
again, it didn't even end up happening at all. So I don't know. And the idea that Fable Anniversary, we'd call it our Fable Anniversary, but that name's taken, makes it sound like their thing was going to be called Fable Anniversary, which makes you think that maybe the game itself, it's not just a celebration, but it is a game called Fable Anniversary, like a Halo Anniversary Edition. I don't know.
I think you're right. Looking at this, I think you're right. I think that really this is just some sort of Fable anniversary week event where they're going
Yeah.
to, I don't know, maybe does I haven't used Xbox in a long time. I don't remember that if it has themes or avatars or whatever. Maybe they're giving away free
Yeah,
Fable avatars.
maybe.
I don't
I think
know.
it's on Game Pass. Maybe it's going to be on Gold. Maybe they'll give them all away with games with Gold or something. I don't know. It's pretty weird. Obviously, we could like sit here and dissect it, but it seems like something they didn't want us to know. So if they deleted it, it's probably because it's not going to be happening anytime soon. Is my thought process. Or we could be totally wrong. It could be happening in the next couple days, like you're saying, Matt. But either way, them talking about don't not having any big game news. They did say any big game news tomorrow, which does make you think maybe they were like, oh, okay, well, it's not that we don't have game news, but we were wrong about it being tomorrow. We fucked the tweets up.
I do like that they're
Um,
like, no, we don't have any big game news tomorrow or any info about
yeah.
Playground Games upcoming
We don't
Fable
even know
game.
what they're doing over there.
Yeah.
They could be working on Forza Horizon 6 and we wouldn't even like they could be goofing us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It's pretty funny. They're like, we don't have anything. Yeah, that was a really a big bummer. So there you go. That's your non-news news for the day. So something to keep an eye on. I think we definitely should keep our eyes out. They'll probably be, I feel like there'll be something Fable related by the end of the month. I think they may do an anniversary or some kind of celebration. I'd love a remaster just because, like I said before, I never really played Fable. I've never played Fable. I played. I think it came out in the original Xbox, right? And I didn't have one. And then 360, they had the sequels, and I never clicked with it. But it seems like a game I'd really like. I mean, obviously it was rudimentary in its implication of this, but it was like choices matter. You can make branching decisions and things a little bit more than you could in other games at the time, and that was really a big focus. And it seems to be kind of a fun little hero's journey thing. So it seems like a cool game that I would enjoy playing. But that being said, never did. So if a remaster came around, I think I'd be more enticed than just trying to play like a 16-year-old game or something.
I think I'll get hate for this. I think it's an overrated series, but
Hmm.
it's not bad by any means,
Hmm.
but I think it's a little overrated. But
Yeah,
it's definitely worth checking out, just to understand where a lot of that choices matter in an RPG started.
yeah, exactly. I think that'd be really, really
And,
cool.
and it wasn't the first to do that kind of stuff, but it did make it mainstream, I guess you could
It
say.
popularized that, yeah, in like a AAA kind of game. All right, well, let's keep talking about Microsoft. Interestingly enough, something you may not know is that Minecraft isn't on PC Game Pass. Did you know that, Matt? Because I actually also didn't know that.
Yeah, I never really thought about it, but it is weird. This announcement that just came out that you're about to read. Yeah,
Mhm.
that I didn't realize it wasn't on Game Pass.
Yeah, so both Minecraft Java Edition and Minecraft Mycroft, I'm talking about Sherlock Holmes over here, and Minecraft Bedrock Edition, Elementary, are coming to PC Game Pass next month. Pretty cool. This is really interesting because, of course, Bedrock Edition is the scalable, like it's the Minecraft that's on everything. It makes it allows you to play on phones and tablets and consoles and everything else. Whereas like the original Minecraft was built on Java, obviously has not been updated the same way that Bedrock has. But on the flip side, there's a lot of mods and modding communities and stuff that is existing in Java that just isn't in Bedrock. It's a different kind of design philosophy. Really, really cool to see that they own it, so they can kind of do what they want with it. Really seems like it really felt to me like that would be something they would put out only the Bedrock edition on like a Game Pass
Right.
service. Really cool to me that they also put the Java edition. Like I bought the Java edition, I don't know, like 11 years ago. Cool that so I could play that, I guess. But it's cool to see that I could just also launch Game Pass and play it that way. And they're supporting that, which I mean we've seen with other Microsoft stuff with like Bethesda and before the purchase, and they worked with them for like Skyrim mods and Fallout mods and that kind of stuff, which is really really cool. Unlike Sony, that didn't really have as good a system for that. And then yeah, too, we're seeing like they own Minecraft and they're putting out the Java edition too, so we're getting like more mod support and stuff that we wouldn't have gotten just through like the pay service. So yeah, I don't, I know Minecraft is still one of, if not the world's like most popular and profitable game, like still to this day, which is wild to me. But yeah, simply, I mean, yeah, it's so wild to me because it's just not something I've played in a really, really long time. But huge respect for it, and really, really cool to see them do both editions.
So the fact that Java Edition is on PC Game Pass is interesting because, like you said, the main point of playing that is because of all the mods and stuff. However, when you download games on PC Game Pass, they really like hide the files and make them inaccessible. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. If the entire point of Java Edition is modding and getting into those files, I mean, PC Game Pass really hides those games on your computer.
Yeah, that might be a difficult thing to do. And also some people are pointing out that like, obviously Java has some security issues that are not present in, some of
Right.
this other kind of stuff. I mean, we know Java at this point has some issues. If you don't keep Java up to date, there can be issues with that. So I think that's another reason why they moved away from that with Bedrock Edition. So we'll have to see. I mean, obviously they've probably thought that through, and it makes sense to have both. I think if I were to pick up Minecraft, I'd probably just play the Bedrock Edition because that's what I've played the most in recent memory. I think a lot of my Minecrafting in the last, I don't know, it's been a long time since I played, but probably 5 years ago when I got into Minecraft again for a little bit, it was definitely on like Xbox and stuff, just like playing couch co-op with a buddy and
Right.
and building some stuff. It's been a while since I've like sat down, downloaded Minecraft on my PC, and just gone to town, but. Yeah, it's cool to see both are there. I don't know who's going to be picking up the Java edition. I don't know if that might cause confusion for people. I don't know, but interesting choice from Microsoft. All right, and finally, moving on. Final story of the day: pixel artist Hiroshi, or Mr. Dotman, as he's more colloquially called, Hiroshi Ono has passed away. Ono joined Namco in 1979 and remained there until 2013, when it was then known as Bandai Namco. Bamco. He was influential in the art for games like Pac-Man, Dig Dug, and Galaga. That is huge. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Obviously, dude worked there for a super, super long time, which is really interesting. But also, some of the biggest stuff that we know, Mr. Dotman 4, Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Galaga, some of these big classic games. I don't know if you have any good memories, that kind of stuff. We had Galaga at this burger place down the road from my house when I was growing up. They had like this old Galaga machine. Oh my God, so much fun. You had to put quarters in. It was a great time.
Nice.
The sun like beat down on it. You could barely even see the screen. It was like in a wooden box. Yeah, it was really, really fun. So here's to that. I always thought it was Space Invaders too. And but I remember seeing people play. I was like, I don't think this is Space Invaders. And someone told me it was Galaga. True story. Not as exciting as I thought it would be when I started telling it. But thank you, Mr. Dotman, for those beautiful, beautiful dots.
Yeah, I had never heard of Hiroshi Ono before I read
Me
this
neither.
news, but I thought it was important to include because it seems like he has been an influential figure in pixel art, and especially being early in video games in 1979. And I mean, staying at one company for what is that? 34 years?
Yeah.
34 years through a merger and all that. So,
From
yeah.
like the beginning of some of the beginning of video games, really.
Yeah. So he worked on some pretty important, influential stuff that, I'm sure pixel artists today look back at some of his art to try to replicate those sort of styles. So it's a big deal. Pixel art's always, that's one of those things where it's just always going to have a place. It's not like your PS1 games and your N64 games where that art just
Yeah,
isn't really, it doesn't hold up. Pixel art, it will always have a place. So
I agree.
thank you, Mr. Ono, Mr.
Yeah,
Dotman.
Mr. Dotman, really, really appreciate it. Yeah, so that brings us to the end of today's GG replay. But before we head out, we just have a couple more things to remind you. First off, if you're listening to this on a podcast app, if you can open your phone or your tablet or your computer screen just for a quick moment and give us a 5-star rating or a thumbs up or a like or whatever you can on that app, it means the world to us. It takes you about 10 seconds, but it gives us, I don't know, 10 hours of fun. So please do that. We really, really appreciate it. It is the least you can do. The least you could do is nothing, but it's the least you can do to make us feel very special, and we appreciate it so much. Also, we do have a whole website, goodnightgroofs.com. Over there, we do have our blog, and we have our podcasts, including our all-encompassing gaming podcast, Game Groofs, which just came out yesterday, which is awesome. And we also have game reviews and links to all of our socials, including our Twitch, twitch.tv/goodnightgroofs, where we streamed last night as well, Phasmophobia, and we might be doing some more creepy streams coming up in the next couple weeks, so check on that. Make sure you follow us there so you can see all of it. But again, if you can't remember all this stuff, just go to goodnightgroofs.com. It's all there for you. And the last thing that is there that's important to mention, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/goodnightgroofs, where we have a $1, $3, and $5 tier. And the $3 tier does get you early access to our weekly podcast, Game Groofs, which is awesome. Normally comes out on a Sunday, but you can get it on a Friday. Listen to it on your commute home and get excited for the weekend, which is always fun. Or you know what? You can save it. You can still save it, listen to it on Sunday if it's your favorite day to listen to it, and enjoy it heading into the work week. Matt, do you have anything else to say before we head out of here on this wonderful day?
Well, I was just going to say that it's nice that Minecraft now has 2 versions coming to PC Game Pass, because I can add that now to my collection of Minecraft installs.
Perfect. You can also add that to your collection of games you can't play on PC Game Pass,
right,
because it doesn't work.
The joke doesn't even work because I can't install games on PC Game Pass, so it's broken.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's shout out to Microsoft there. If you can patch that for Matt, that would be great. That is it for today's GG replay. We'll be back again on Wednesday. Make sure you go check out Game Groofs, which is on anywhere you listen to podcasts, or our YouTube channel if you want to hear some fascinating discussion. Good night, Groofs.